Hello everyone and welcome back to Myken. In this episode we shall see that the weather isn't always nice, quiet and sunny. It's probably no big surprise to anyone that where we are, about 32 kilometers out into the Arctic Ocean, the wind can sometimes be quite ferocious. In fact, I think I read somewhere that we only have about 3%, that's about 11 days in a year, where there's no wind in Myken. So wind is a constant companion, and it can be sometimes really rough. What might be a little bit more surprising perhaps is that even though we're above the Arctic Circle, we hardly ever get really big masses of snow. So what you see in this video is sort of a standard winter scenario in Myken. Sometimes of course we get large dumps of snow, but they tend to disappear rather quickly, us being here sort of in the middle of the Gulf Stream. Gales and storms can be quite common, especially during the winter, and even hurricane wind speeds are not totally unheard of in Myken. So everything is built to try to withstand that. This poor tree is perhaps the largest and most beautiful one in Myken, and it just happens to be sheltered so that it survives these winds. Walking around on the ice and these winds can be quite sketchy. You can sometimes struggle quite a bit to stay upright. Even our modern house gets a really rattly chimney during these storms. We get flapping ventilators, and judging from the glass on my bedside table, you'd think you're in an earthquake somewhere. This flag gets replaced every single summer, but it never ever lasts through the winter. People in Myken are so used to these weather conditions that we don't really let things lie around that can be taken away by the wind. So it's now, I guess, at least 10 years since the last roof blew off somebody's house. But you never know. This particular storm was from the east, almost directly from the mainland. So the waves that build up under these conditions are nothing compared to what happens when it comes from the other side. And it has all the distance from Greenland to build up huge rolling waves that break upon our shores. But still, you'd be kind of crazy to go out in a boat in this weather too. In fact, bad weather and rough sea conditions are so common and prevalent in Myken that it's not unheard of. It's not uncommon for us to go 14 days without our daily passenger ferry. So we always have to make sure that we're stocked up on food and essential supplies, because the next delivery can be a long time away. So when the storm finally subsides and the sea goes back to its slightly calmer state, we breathe a collective sigh of relief And then we turn our minds back onto what we do for a living here in Myken, at least some of us, which is of course making whiskey. It does happen, especially the night before a big bottling operation, that I do regret making the decision 6 years ago that every single bottle that comes out of Myken should be hand numbered. It's a big job, but the customers seem to like it, so it looks like we'll probably have to be doing it for quite a while yet. You could perhaps make the argument that this is such a trance-like, Zen-like type of activity that it might actually be good for us. Now, bottling of both whiskey and gin is such a big operation that it requires a lot more than just our normal employees in the distillery. We then tend to gather the entire community. It's a community operation. We get all the owners, we get all the other islanders. If there are any tourists in Myken, they have to be really careful not to be dragged into this as well. But actually, people who do get dragged into it tend to like it a lot. It's fun. And it's a unique opportunity to take part in something very special that you don't get to do almost anywhere else in the world. The actual labeling is perhaps the most aesthetically important part of this whole process, and as I like to tell people who take part in this, there's a fine line between sloppiness and handcrafted. So we need to make sure that we stay on just the right side of that line. All sorts of people have gotten their education as bottlers with us, and I remember especially at one point we had a policeman, a customs officer and a priest walking in to take part. Sounds like the start of a bad joke, but it was really great fun having them there. All this production and bottling, of course, tends to slowly fill up all the available space in the distillery. So finally, Staffan has now been able to start moving a little bit of our barrels over to the new warehouse, our Whisky Cathedral. In the cathedral, all the shelves, all these racks have been built exactly to a specification where they just fit a standard barrel, so that we can use as much of this volume as possible. Perfect. Now, we cannot let all these products just accumulate in Myken, of course. We need to get them out, and our lifeline for doing that, as well as getting things into Myken, is our daily ferry. It arrives late in the evening and leaves extremely early in the morning, weather permitting, of course. The crew on this boat, they do an excellent job for us. Without them, it would be impossible for us to live out here, and it's not an enviable task they have. They put themselves out there in weather which is enough to make even seasoned fishermen and sailors stay on shore or otherwise get really, really seasick. So we are extremely grateful for what they do for us. seeing our products being hoisted onto the ship and then taken off out into the big wide world is actually quite humbling. It makes us grateful to see that it's actually possible to find activities to do, products to make that allow us to live our life the way we want to, according to our own schedule, far away from the hustle and bustle, and basically living the good life, while also knowing that this is meaningful to others and that they find value in it. That's a good feeling. And as the spirits make their way to the mainland, we can sit back, relax, look at the sunset, basically just enjoy our good luck and our fortune for being able to live in this wonderful place. Thanks for watching this episode, and make sure to like and subscribe and join us again when we take a look at our lighthouse in the next episode. See you!